these intuitive moments are just going to keep happening more often, and it's going to be so fun.
And then you can give us your stories.
Exactly.
Welcome to Trust Yourself.
Last week, we talked about what it means to be an intuitive, a psychic, a medium, or all three, right? But today, we're going to talk more about how to hone those gifts and give you some fun examples from stories that you have written in.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I'm actually really stoked to get to this part. Yay, it'll be so fun. Okay, so our goal of reading these stories is just to help you see that these are innate abilities. Everyone has a story. Some are small, some are big, some are Teresa Caputo size, some are like, oh, this just happened yesterday. I had a little hunch that, something is going to happen, and it did. Yay.
But here's the deal. No story is too big and no story is too small for us to share it. So send in your stories, please. We love this. This is so exciting to read for us.
Right. And like I said last week, I was just a girl drawing building details, but yet I could have dreams and get messages from grandparents. Just trust it. Just believe it.
Suspend disbelief.
Yes. So let's start first with some games to practice, because it's really important that we practice this, because we're really pushing the limits of our physical and mental beliefs. And usually we don't believe what we don't see. So we need to practice feeling is believing, not seeing.
Like the magic of Santa Claus.
That's actually sadly leaving our house now.
I know. Don't tell my kids yet. Ooh, they can't
won't.
listen to this episode.
Oh, crap. Sorry, kids. All right. So actually, tying into that feeling is believing, there's I think it's a hilarious experiment that was conducted by psychologists Daniel Simons and Daniel Levin at Harvard University to demonstrate change blindness. And yes, Heidi, it was done in 1998. However, I think this experiment is still super relevant, and it's really funny.
I mean, Pavlov still, that experiment still sticks. So that makes sense.
Right. And, we haven't changed as a species since 1998 that much. So it's a psychological experiment, and it's really interesting. So they started this study, I believe it was at a hotel, but an individual would approach the counter to check in, and then a person behind the counter would give them a consent form to sign. And as they were signing that form, the person behind the counter would duck down to go get something. However, a different individual would stand up to continue the interaction. And guess what? So many participants failed to notice that they were now speaking to a different person.
Yes. I have seen similar studies or similar experiments like that. And sometimes it's like a man and then it's a woman and it's completely different. And they still don't know. I'm like, what the hell?
It is a very compelling example of how the limitations of our perceptual awareness and how we overlook significant changes when we don't believe it to be true. Like, oh no, it has to be the same person. Therefore,
they just
I don't
bent
notice
down
it
and just stood up again. So it's obviously the same human.
Right. So apply this to intuition, and we're going to miss so many signs if we doubt or if we assume only what I physically see is really true. So this is why it's really important to just challenge yourself, and fun ways to do that are using some games. So Heidi and I do some of these games to practice our intuition and to really hone it. Take what you like, but the first one is called Feel the Text. So anytime you get a text message, if you just see the notification pop up on your phone and you don't see the body of the text, just try and get a sense of that text and whether it is going to be a positive or an uplifting text, if it's going to make you feel good, if it is maybe a neutral text, or if it's something that's going to stress you out, or if it's negative and really going to bring you down. And again, suspend disbelief and check yourself. It's a really quick, easy way to get an intuitive feeling on it and check to see if that was actually accurate. And don't judge yourself if it was right or wrong, but just keep practicing it, see what happens. Another one is the threshold exercise. And this one you can do even in your own house. You can do it when you go to a different building. Every time you walk over a threshold, try and gauge the energy shift in the room, because each room may have a different, like we talked about, an energetic soup, a different feeling in that room. Maybe something negative happened in here, that somebody just had a really bad conversation and the vibes, the feelings just off. Versus when you go back to a different office or something, maybe it's a little bit more light and airy. Try and judge the feeling and just notice how it changes with each room that you go into. Then another one is the compass exercise. So this one's fun if you have a decision that you need to make, which I'm really bad at making decisions, so I do this one quite often. It could be a really simple decision. Do I have cake or coffee? Cake or coffee?
Always cake.
Always.
And you say
I want
always
cake and coffee right now. What is happening?
God, I love cake.
But if you have to make a decision, or if it's if there's like a yes/no question that you're trying to answer, visualize a compass in your head and tell that compass, okay, when I see the arrow pointing to the right, that means yes, or that means A in the decision. And if it's pointing to the left, that means no, or that means B in the decision. And then first, what's really important to do is to let your ego, let your prefrontal cortex decide the decision first. So ask the question and say, okay, logical brain, what should I do? A or B, yes or no? And watch the compass go one way or another, because if you let your ego have a voice, then they'll be okay to sit back for a second when
then
you
they
let
can
your
sit down and shut up.
sit your ass down. And now
You've spoken, now just be quiet.
and now let your intuition answer. So then watch again and very carefully judge what your needle is doing in your brain. As you visualize this needle move, watch the very first movement. Does it go slightly to the right or slightly to the left? Does it sway the complete opposite direction as your ego? It could do that. But take that as your first intuitive hit. And then play that out. See what happens.
What if it just sits there and spins around?
Ooh, then I don't know.
And then it's like the magic 8-ball where it's like, try again later. Ask again.
I don't know. I've never had it spin. Great. Now it's going to spin every time I do this.
You're welcome.
Okay. And another thing is sometimes if people aren't comfortable or don't visualize things very easily, I know it's easier for some to see things in their third eye than others. So if you're not one that visualizes easily, try noticing how your body leans instead. So again, the same thing, ask those questions, but notice when you ask the question, does your body lean forward or backward? And establish a decision for one side or the other. So say, before you do this question, say yes is forward and no is backwards. And with the very slightest of lean, just feel into your body's gut reaction. What does it want to do, forward or backwards? And then another one that we love to do is play psychic for a day with your friends, with your family. And just like I did with Sean, my husband, yes, I know almost everything about him. But if you're going to play psychic, ask to receive information about your friend or about your husband that only they know and you don't know, and see what happens. See, do you get a visual of something? Do you get a word? Do you get a phrase, a feeling? And just let it come out and talk to your friend about it and see what they have to say about it. It might surprise you.
You know what? I was just thinking about, back to the study that you were talking about. I just had a thought of, it's almost like a law of assumption. And if you just assume only psychic people can get these things, then you'll never really open up to it. But if you assume that everyone is psychic, maybe then you can actually start receiving things. So just kind of switch it in your brain too, of like, assume you can instead of assuming you can't.
Yes, 99%. Sorry, we're starting to say 99% now because I said 100% way too much in the last episode.
99.9%.
I totally believe you. I totally agree. 99% of me agrees. No, absolutely. I agree. That totally makes sense. So also while you're doing these games, use an intuition tracker, and that can be as simple as a spreadsheet, right? Or just mark down.
I'm sorry, a spreadsheet is not simple, sissy.
Okay.
I thought you were about to say, just use the notes app in your phone. And you're like, it's simple. Just use a spreadsheet. We are so opposite.
For the type A people that love spreadsheets, it's super simple. Type B, just a notes app in your phone. Absolutely.
Or a voice recorder. That's what I would do.
Yeah, even
too.
better. A piece of paper by the side of your bed. Write down the date when you get an intuitive hit, how you got it. What did it feel like? Did you receive the information as a visual? Did you get a gut feeling? Did you get goosebumps? And then what that information was, and maybe just some notes like follow through. Did it play out? Did it actually lead you to something good? Or maybe you won't know, but just keep notes on that. And then the more you keep tracking it, the more you're going to start trusting yourself. And again, like these intuitive moments are just going to keep happening more often, and it's going to be so fun.
And then you can give us your stories.
Exactly. Nice segue, Heidi. So yes, and then you can give us these wonderful stories, which we are now going to read because we want you to know that this is for everyone.
And I'm on a roll.
So you guys have given us some great stories, and I'm really excited to read them. This first one is from Stephanie in Oklahoma. I was driving home and I had this urgent feeling in my gut, like I needed to call my dad right now. We talk maybe once a week, and it wasn't our typical day for talking, but I pulled over and gave him a call anyway. He answered, but something was really off. His speech was slurred. I told him to hang up and call 911. Turned out he was having a stroke. He got to the hospital in time, and the doctors said it saved his life. I knew something was wrong before anything happened, and now I trust my gut like it's the gospel.
Oh, that gave me chills.
Intense. That's intense.
Man, those little nudges, they make sense.
Well, and even little things, like I sometimes get the feeling to call my friend and she'll be like, oh my gosh, I was just thinking about you. But it didn't save her life, but
you can't win all of them.
But it's still good. Heidi, do you have one?
I have one. I have one from Cassie from Boulder, Colorado. She says, I kept having this same dream where I was standing in a cabin in the woods, looking out at this giant lake. I had never seen this place before, but the feeling of peace was overwhelming. I journaled about it for months. Then one day, scrolling Zillow, like we do, there it was, the cabin. I convinced my husband to take a weekend trip, and we ended up buying it. I quit my corporate job, started painting again, and now run art retreats from that exact house. That dream changed everything. Oh, that's like my dream. I want that.
God. And Cassie, let us know where your art retreats are. I want to sign up.
I want to go. I'm there.
That's amazing.
Well, and as you know, we've healed our Colorado aversion.
Oh yeah,
so
we can go
I'll
back
definitely
now.
go.
All right, this one's from Amanda in Omaha, Nebraska. Well, I have the ultimate scenario for your divine intervention / intuition stories. I'm still shaken up about the whole thing. Last night, something told me to go check to make sure my front door was locked. I never in my life have done this, but it wasn't locked, so I locked it and lectured my daughter on the importance of locking the damn door when she leaves or comes home for the night. I sat back down without thinking about anything, but 15 minutes later, shit hit the fan. This man was standing on my front porch, didn't ring the doorbell, but he was trying to open the door. I froze. He stayed there for about 15 minutes trying to get in multiple different times, multiple different ways. Terrifying. I called the cops. I'm getting goosebumps all over.
Yeah, same.
La la la. He left a sharpened branch, hard candies, and an orange peel on my front porch. The cops eventually came and took him in. And they called me and told me that it turns out he lives in our neighborhood and he is a medicated but paranoid schizophrenic, but sometimes forgets to take his medication. And when he does, he can get extremely violent. He's been called on a few times before, so this was most definitely my intuition screaming at me to be on alert. So glad I locked the door. Can you imagine?
Damn, Amanda. Fuck, no. That's That's absolutely terrifying, but yay, intuition. Oh
Yay,
my
intuition
God.
for the win.
Intuition saves lives, people.
Okay,
For
another
real.
t-shirt.
Yeah, intuition saves lives. Who wants to buy that tea? I'm going to rock it
I do.
for sure. I'll buy it. I'll buy it for myself. Okay, next one. This is called the Lavender Warning from Danielle in Minneapolis. I never thought of myself as psychic. I'm a therapist, pretty rational, and always chalked things up to coincidence until this happened. A few years ago, I started randomly smelling lavender in my house. It would hit me out of nowhere in the hallway, the kitchen, even the car. No one else smelled it. I don't wear lavender perfume. I don't even like lavender.
Oh, I love lavender.
I know.
Sorry, Danielle.
But every time I smelled it, it reminded me of my grandma who passed. I started journaling each time it happened just to track it. I even joked that this felt like she needed to tell me something. One night, after a particularly strong lavender wave hit me while brushing my teeth, I had a dream about my sister getting into a car accident. It was so vivid, I woke up sweating. I called her the next morning and begged her not to drive to work. She laughed it off, but promised to take the light rail instead. That afternoon, she called me really shook up. She'd left work early and saw a huge accident on her normal route. 3 cars were involved. After that, the lavender stopped. Just gone.
No.
I haven't smelt it since. It could have been a huge coincidence, but I certainly don't think so. That was the moment I stopped doubting myself. I still don't know how it works, but I now pay attention to the subtleties, the sensations, and the nudges. You go, Danielle.
Yes.
Intuition saves lives. I think you need to make it a shirt.
Oh my God. For real.
Oh, that's insane. These are
Okay.
so cool.
These are so good, you guys. Here's another one. It's not about saving a life, but it is just as good, and I might tear up reading it.
Oh,
Okay.
Yay.
This is from Michelle in Seattle. Oh, it's called
Oh my God, she's already crying.
It's called The Dream That Waited 19 Years.
Oh no.
Okay,
I'm going to
I'm fine.
cry, aren't I? If you're
I'm
going to
you're
cry,
fine.
I'm going to cry. Okay, let's buckle up.
When I was pregnant with my 4th child, good job, girl.
Yeah.
I had the most vivid dream. So real, it felt like a memory. In it, I was standing on a beach, laughing with my husband and 4 daughters. The sun was golden, the water was calm, the girls were twirling around so happy. I saw all of their faces in detail. I knew they were my daughters. A family of 6, 4 beautiful girls. I woke up beaming and told my husband, "Oh my God, it's a girl. I saw her. She's so beautiful."
Oh. I'm not crying, you're crying.
I know. But, spoiler alert, it was a boy. A beautiful baby boy, and I was a little confused, but I loved him fiercely, and of course I couldn't shake that dream. I even felt a little guilty for mourning a version of our family that never came. I packed it away and chalked it up to pregnancy hormones. Typical.
Yeah, they got some weird ass dreams when you're pregnant.
Yeah. Flash forward 19 years. My 4th child, my boy, came up to us and explained that he was transgender and that he would now be a she, that she'd always known that she was finally ready to live as the girl. Heidi's crying.
It's okay. I love it.
That she was finally ready to live as the girl she is inside. The moment she told me that old dream hit me like a tidal wave. I saw her face and suddenly it all made sense. Today, I'm looking at a framed photo sitting above our fireplace, our whole family standing on the beach, arms wrapped around each other, 4 beautiful women, 1 deeply proud dad, and me, the mom who knew all along.
Okay, we are not using this clip video because we are just blubbering over here.
I'm writing this with tears in my eyes, not out of sadness, but out of awe. Intuition is real. It's not just a gut feeling. Sometimes it's a whisper that stays with you for 2 decades, just waiting to be understood. I trust it now more than ever. Michelle!
Michelle, so many hugs. I just want to have a cry hug circle with you because not of sad tears. Again, just these happy
yes.
tears.
In
This is
awe.
so beautiful. Oh, I love that. Okay, you saved like the most emotional for last, which I'm glad because I don't think I could read any more after that.
I know.
That was amazing, you guys. Thank you
Right?
so much for sending those in. Please continue to do so. Email us stories@trustyourselfpodcast.com. Link is in the show notes. Send us a DM or email us. It doesn't matter. Either way, we'd love to hear your stories, big or small, long or short, whatever you'd like to do. But this is something really fun that I hope we get to continue to do because I think everybody's going to like hearing these, but you can really help somebody, right? Just you write in one story and a listener will hear it. And maybe that is what they needed to start trusting themselves. Or maybe they have a very similar story and then it gets them to open up and talk about it. So you never know who you can help with your stories, but I truly believe sharing stories is how you help other people.
Yeah. Well said. I don't need to say anything else to that. So now I think it's time for our tarot of the week.
Okay, guys, let's see what we've got. What is our energy of the week? What do we need to focus on as a collective?
My energy is on intuition.
Seriously, my
lives.
energy this week has been on divine feminine and just really engaging in that. I got a new goddess necklace, the goddess Yamaya. Or Yamaya. I'm just totally saying that wrong. It's Yamaya. But yeah, divine feminine, mother goddess of the ocean. Definitely check that out. Anyways, so
If you have
we got a few cards that came out.
Okay, let's see.
All right, so we got 4 cards. This is beautiful actually. So the first card that we got was the Emperor, which is all about focus and stability. And the deck that I'm using has animals on it. And this is a cougar, right?
Ooh,
That's a cougar. Yeah. So, rare. All right. So, focusing on stability, but to me, it's also showing a lot of power, like your own inner power as well. And then 3 of Acorns, which is the traditional 3 of Pentacles, which is shown as a giraffe here, all about foresight and exploration. And this one, like giraffe is my spirit animal. So to me, it always is about kind of leading with your heart, but holding your head high and having enough foresight and vision, because your giraffes are the tallest animal, right? So they can see for miles and miles. So to me, this is my intuition card. So this is telling me we need to focus on our intuition, hold ourselves tall, and go forward with our heart. And then we got the Sun, which is beautiful, all about vitality and joy, represented here by a hummingbird. It's a beautiful card as well. And
isn't that also a yes card? Like if you
it
have
is
a
yes.
decision,
It
it's
is
like,
a yes
yes,
card.
do it.
Absolutely. And it's all just about that joy and then feeling that happiness and that light inside of you. And I love that we're ending this pull with a transformation, this transformation card.
Oh.
It's number 13, represented here by a cicada. Obviously, cicadas, they go hibernate for a while and then they come out, they transform, they shed their skin, all about transitions, liberation. So to me, this is all saying like, own your power, tap into your intuition, let your joy shine, and watch how you transform.
Ooh.
So, I just got chilies again. Goosies.
Goosies. And speaking of transformation, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see Heidi's wearing a butterfly sweatshirt, which I just realized.
Radiate positivity is what it says.
I love that.
Radiate positivity.
If anyone's looking for a butterfly sign, this is it.
This is it. You guys, transformation is happening on such a massive level. I can just feel this shift of all of these women starting to embody this divine feminine power. And it's not necessarily to like take over and just be like women everything. I think it's
I'm
just
okay
because
with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too. But I like what I've been hearing and what I've been talking to other people about too is like the divine masculine has been out of balance for a little too long. And so now we're kind of all being called to bring in that divine feminine and just get into balance. Like we don't have to fully, take over, but let's just balance some shit this week.
And if we take over, we take over because we're pretty cool.
And I think that's okay too.
Well, until next time, it's your move, sis.
Make it count. Bye.